I have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, I don't want to say it like ruined my life, but I'm going to have it for the rest of my life.
Mental health issues is anything relating to your emotional health, and same thing as like physical health issues. You could have gotten in a fight with your parent the night before, a parent that you don't usually fight with, but feeling really down and sad, to being diagnosed with a severe, with severe depression. So there's really a continuum of what mental health issues look like, from like kind of everyday normal issues to issues that are more severe. And
those underlying themes seem to be a big fear of feeling like people are not good enough, or also kind of like a existential crisis of sorts that a lot of students are having here of, what is the point of what I'm doing? Why am I working so hard? Or are there going to be results to this? What is the purpose of everything that I'm doing? They kind of lose sight of that.
The main issues that we see in wellness is anxiety, stress, panic issues, depression, body image and eating disorders, social issues, so like having troubles with friends or in relationships, healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships issues, sexual decision-making questions.
I'm on meds for my panic attacks, but they were getting really bad, especially at Drake, which is where I was before, and I couldn't be in class really because there was multiple triggers that were happening in class. Jokes and things like that were just not good.
My theory is that we live in Marin County is a bubble. It's a pretty unique little bubble where it costs a lot to live here, and there are a lot of pressures to succeed, to continue to make enough money to live where we live.
People feel embarrassed, just like what I was saying. Physical health, people aren't embarrassed about. Mental health, they're embarrassed about it. Mental health issues equals crazy. It's not true.
A lot of people that I've encountered just, they don't believe it, I guess. Or it feels like they don't believe it, that it's a real thing. Because, hearing jokes, there's self-harm jokes and rape jokes and all these ignorant high schooler things that just, what causes people to have these opinions about it, to make it a joke? It's just disgusting to me that it can be classified as a joke when it obviously is not.
I go into classrooms and do these workshops about mental health, and when I say, raise your hand if when I say physical health, you think of something negative, and no one raises their hand. When I say, raise your hand if when I say mental health, so you think of something negative, and everybody raises their hand. Not everybody, but a good portion of students raise their hand. And so for some reason in our society, even though we all have physical health and every single one of us has mental health, people are so worried about being boxed in or labeled as having a mental illness. So we are really trying to normalize and say that every single teenager has mental health issues. It's just part of growing up,
The definition of a disorder is really that your functioning becomes impaired. I think we all have anxiety or depression to an extent, but when your functioning becomes impaired, then it becomes more of a disorder.
A lot of mental health is chemical. There's a chemical component to it, and there's an environmental component to it. So, yeah, a lot of people have things that go on in their life that can lead to some mental health issues, but it doesn't mean that that's their fault. I think that that's what people really need to realize, and that what is their fault is not getting the services or asking for help, for mental health help when they need to.
So 17% of 9th graders and 20% of 11th graders reported they've seriously considered attempting suicide in the past 12 months. We also have incredibly high numbers for hopeless and sad feelings, where students are not able to do their regular, usual activities. I know that our suicidal ideation numbers, which is the number I just gave you, are higher than in Palo Alto Unified. And in Palo Alto Unified, they just have a suicide cluster of students committing suicide, so it's really scary.
I think it's as significant of an issue as is everywhere else. I think it's equally important to have mentally well students as is to have physically well students, because without both, I think that gets in the way of learning.
I think the worst thing that could happen is we lose students to overdoses and suicide, or we lose potential and opportunities for students who are so depressed that they're not getting the help that they need, that they can't live their life to their full potential.
I think worst case scenario is that these students either are unable to attend school or earn their credits and get their diplomas, and worst case scenario, they harm themselves in some way. So the stakes are high, and intervention is key.
If everyone will just, for themselves, understand that it is a serious issue, it does affect people who you don't see it affecting, and little things can cause it. But if people understand that, and understand that if it were you or if it were your siblings, someone who's really close to you, would you still be making those jokes? Would you still have these prejudices against it? Honestly, schools can provide all these different types of things for people in need, but it's all on the person themselves to to go there and speak out. It's not really on the schools to make sure they get help, if that makes sense. That was for me what was hard, is that I needed to do it myself. I needed to take the initiative and go talk to someone and say, I need help. I've gone from hating the fact that I go to a therapist, that I have to be on medication. I hated saying that. And I felt as if I was just that broken girl, that I was born broken and now someone has to fix me.
I think getting support is the biggest tip. So I think that you're not alone, that there are people out there who are trained to support you. We have hundreds of students being seen at Wellness who have issues ranging from breaking up with a boyfriend or girlfriend to severe anxiety and panic disorders. We have all kinds of issues. So I think getting people to know that it's okay and that it's normal is a good thing.
It's not that mindset, as well as people think, oh, they're just there because this is their job. They're getting paid to do this. That's not it either. They're there because they love helping people. My sister wants to be a psychologist because she loves helping people. She wants people to get better, and that's what psychologists are there to do.
We've been trying to break down the barriers of the mental health stigma for close to 50 years now.
Spreading the word, honestly, because it affects more people than you think.
Educating folks about what resources are available, and then also focusing a lot on coping skills. So how do you deal with life's ups and downs? And so really empowering young people to know how they can take care of themselves. And I've said, raise your hand if you've ever seen someone post about wanting to hurt themselves. And almost the whole class raised their hand. And I was like, do you guys know what to do when you see that? And they don't know what to do. So they need to go to an adult. You can actually report it on Facebook and Instagram.
Life is a roller coaster, and you just have to kind of put your seatbelt on, have your toolbox, and get ready for the ride. There's ups and there's downs, and it does get better. It gets worse too, but it does get better.
Hang in there. Reach out to as many people as you can. Trusted people. Come to terms with who you are and that it is a part of you, but it doesn't define you. You define yourself. Don't let some term, don't let depression, don't let anxiety, don't let OCD, PTSD, any disorder, don't let that define you. You are your own person, and I love you, and I'm more than sure that there is someone out there who loves you. I love you.